What up, Schmoedown Rockers? Been a couple weeks. I decided I was gonna wait and just talk about all three matches that were left over, all at once. Might not have been the best idea given the previous two matches. I might be spotty on as opposed to the recent one, not just because of bias, just so you know. But if you're looking for that, I would suggest some other fellow podcasters, especially the ones involving someone that's in this match, Blade himself. As well as, I think the Action Report does pretty good for that stuff. What's other fellow YouTubers that are still bothering to do this stuff since Rundown kind of just went, or just gave up immediately because they didn't want to accidentally spoil shit, I guess. I don't know. Regardless, these two matches are pretty solid in and of itself. Loomis pulls, I believe, one of his first big wins in a while. I think he needed against, and it was against Sweet T. Wiggins, or at least it seems what was of the team that is. Why am I blanking on the team name? It's been a while since they played as a team. So, oh yes, the Reckoning. The Reckoning. It's been a few weeks, so I mean, just saying. Each having apparently pulled victories. Page for Brady could not pull it, and Loomis manages to at least end his career in Schmoedown 4-1 as apparently the best 4-1 player, which is what he's going to go by. Self-proclaimed. The fact that you beat the person that beat Page for Brady's only one record now to a sudden death, and you beat this one through as well, especially since somehow he pulled one heck of a round one to have to force her to play perfect, which didn't matter since somehow he did as well. Lomas played extremely well too. I mean, he was behind for a bit, but he managed to have quite a comeback against Sweet T. Wiggins, into the point where eventually to the point of tying, and then her unfortunately missing everything and probably up to her 5 as well. At least hitting whatever number she probably needed to tie it. Unfortunately, Lomas was able to pull his 5, untying it, making it 20-15. Good on both players, and sorry to Wiggins and Fabretti, but, you know, he played fairly well. Though to me, for the obvious bias reasons, two things actually. One, that is not mentioned here, but it's kind of because I'm a patron, so I got to see it, and I'm very glad I got to see it. Because now we officially can say the Star Wars Championship match going into Spectacular will definitely be fulfilling a sense of prophecy we've been needing to see, well, since the prophecy that is Damon versus Damon happening. And we finally get to see it in championship form, though, of Dimolanta versus Dimolanta. Both have been in championships before, and one of them specifically having been at Spectacular. And I think this might be the first time Andrew Dimolanta gets to go to Spectacular. Figure that. This getting to be his final chance, and maybe him actually winning at Spectacular. Though it'd be more embarrassing if somehow he loses to his wife, who actually got to be at Spectacular. But we'll see. We'll see. It's going to be interesting. And plus, with dungeon backing, oh, maybe Nikki may pull it. I get if some people are going to pick Andrew. It's the obvious choice because he's had the belt numerous times, or at least he's held the belt and retained it against Damon. So, you know, the loss to you-know-who. But still, awesome match. And now I get to finally see the match I've been wanting to talk about and been waiting for the Alliance, aka Mark, the Android and Draco, and my boy, Kevin the Smasher Smets. And Draco's first match as part of the dungeon. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I'd have liked it better if they won. But it was a hell of a good match, and he couldn't have lost to anybody better than Sean Wingblade, really. He's a good dude. I've talked to him through like Ben's Patreon, and even through times where he showed up for some of the people that have connections to Montyverse and Fan4, and the Fan4 Stick podcasts and whatnot. So, I mean, I've never got to meet him, Draco, though. But he knows some comics and he knows other stuff, and I mean, he's a 2-time teams champ, and he twice barely got close to, or at least once, maybe more so or less, got this close to winning a title. It's part of the Fight Club, so a singles belt. So, but he's won that teams belt, so it's not like he isn't of some championship caliber. So teams, he was gonna do well. But this is Glory Jean and like Wingblade. And that team, I would love Wingblades of Glory. Glory Jean being the woman who somehow managed to stop the debut of one Chandra Dhanapani dead in its tracks, which was freaking glorious. I'll give you that. It's a shame you gotta do that to my boy's first teams match, though. And fingers crossed with how Spectacular goes. Hopefully, something happens and Smets gets involved in Spectacular in some fashion to have a better ending of sorts going forward. Because this, I mean, it was a nice match, and if only there was more time for this team to be something, and it wasn't canceling. This match still proves that they're a top tier team and they would be able to move forward if only they had the chance to do so. And that's what's the biggest crime here, especially both teams in this case. Because this is one heck of a match. Smash pull. I can't even get mad because despite his round one, his unfortunate fall in round one was what did them in. But it's not like they didn't do extremely well enough despite missing and going to multiple choice and missing one specific question in horror, or Stephen King, I believe, actually, which may as well be horror at this point. But yeah, but him getting that 3-pointer in round 3, and Draco knew it, and he just for some strange reason just went to Labyrinth in his head and pulled out David Bowie. Freaking I mean, like, between the musical thing, him missing that question for Mamma Mia for some reason, because he's of his somewhat musical background from Newsies, definitely made, like, Draco's, the fuck, man? And then the bigger thing was more his face of awe, shock, and awe, and wonder of Draco. Just... just icing on the cake of that. Had Smets not pulled that 3, I don't think we'd still be in it in the same exact way, and they'd have to have gone to their 5 regardless. But the fact that it's a shame because they pulled it enough to force them to have to answer questions. They could have tied, but then took lead. Sean, unfortunately, couldn't pull his 2, which luckily was somewhat lucky for us up until Glory Jean pulled her 3, forcing us to pull her 5. And the 5-pointers on this, honestly, in hindsight, were much easier than expected. Initially. Like, even I knew them. So, up to a point. I mean... And I kind of figured I knew Draco would mostly get figure out what the 5-pointer was, and I kind of figured Wayne would play the part in that. So that's why I knew not to sleep on him. I know he's good. I know he's good. And it's just Smets wasn't at his A game. Not nearly as badly as what happened in that championship match, though. Thank God. But, you know, but it was a little more expected, I guess, that it would kind of happen because he's tackling on more single stuff than inner geekdom topics. So, yeah, that was where the other shoe was going to drop, and it was unfortunate. If only he didn't miss that one question, I think this whole match might have been a slightly different story. Maybe, if he had just gotten that point. Because that's the only thing, I think. Because it would have at least made them tie still, I think. And they'd have pulled. And they might have had more, and even if they lost with the miss of the 1-pointer, they wouldn't have had to worry as much about using their 3. Yeah, maybe they still would have. Maybe they would have won, or them being 1 point behind still wouldn't have mattered. I don't know. Overall, good on you. Good on Wayne Blades of Glory. Good on. It's a shame it has to be a loss on your record, but it's not a knockout this time. Oof. So, be proud of that, I guess. But anyways, yeah, sorry, I'm just kind of sulking a little bit. But, you know, I can't not be proud of him at least putting up enough of a fight, and pulling that 3 was kind of glorious. And it's musicians in film, I think, so yeah. So as a musician myself, I kind of feel good about it. Just having his head down, and then still gets me, man. Oh, you're a treat, Draco. You're a treat. Want to have briefly had you. If only we would have helped. Only Smets carried what he needed to help you get there, to have a win under the Dungeons time. Dungeon time and playing Dungeon Ball. But it's good to play Dungeon Ball with you, regardless of how things turned out. It wasn't a terrible loss because, you know, you're only by 1 point. It still sucks, but, you know, it is what it is. Also, but at least I still have a win in the dungeon this week in Nikki, but I think a lot of people kind of had a feeling it was going to be Dimolanta versus Dimolanta for that spectacular match, which I'm still looking forward to. I'm just not entirely sure. Hopefully we'll see what the announcements are coming up after all this. And I'm guessing my patronage, and since there's nothing else that's coming out right now, since everything will be public from this point forward, Schmoedown wise, that's left, including maybe, because now the transition, I'm guessing I'm trying to wind up transitioning to Big Thing Send Live patronage, I guess. So, is what it is. But that's it, guys. Unfortunately, for a little bit, until the spectacular. But what did you guys think of these final 3 matches, as well as what we might have gotten from the 2? I didn't mention the other match, which was interesting, between the other Star Wars match, but it's fine. It didn't affect, but it's just, the thing is, it didn't quite affect anything drastically in the way that this recent one, because the recent one being a number of contendership and it determining what we were going to get for the Star Wars match. So I had to address that one. But it was Fishburne and well, I feel bad. Fishburne and Gold Leader. So then Gold Leader needed a win to kind of end his time, I guess. So it's whatever, man. It's whatever. What did you guys think? So what did you guys think of these last 3 matches? Leave a comment below, let me know. Thanks to all you subscribers that have been involved most of Schmoedown for sticking around, and hopefully you'll still stick around and see where my journey will take me once Schmoedown ends, or like what I'm going to be doing for the next, whether it be movies or music, for the next couple months. But yeah. Hope you, and also if you like this video, rock that like button, and thrust if you must, hit the subscribe button, click the notification bell. Also, links in the description to all my other socials, especially to the dungeon page, home of the former two-time Intergeekdom champion, Kevin the Smasher Smets, and for briefly the two-time Teams champion, Mark the Android Andrico. I should have given him a little bit more oomph, but you know how I feel about my boy Smith, so it's just one. It is what it is. Also, Kaiser, did you? I guess you're never gonna figure out your Facebook then. I've been trying to get a hold of you, but whatever. I guess I'll figure out something through Smeds if I have to. It is what it is. It is what it is, boss man. But anyways. If you smell what the movie trivia Schmoedown, Skype and so on and so forth is cooking. Oh, yeah, the Schmoedown for one more time. We don't talk about it. Can you dig it? Hopefully you can still dig it with this channel and stick around and see my journey. Take care, y'all. Especially with this new hat. Did you notice it? Did you notice? You like it? You like it? Leave a comment and let me know. Take care, y'all.